Good morning, all. Hope you're all safe at home and then enjoying your house food. And also be aware of the current situation. So, I hope all of you are safe. Please take care of your family members and neighbors as well. Please do not go out. I hope there is a good reason for you to stay at home, right? You can learn a lot. So, especially when it comes to new technologies, definitely yes, AWS is on the top of current technologies, which is cloud computing. So, there is a very good reason why you have to stay at home and then sitting before your laptop or computer and then learning something good. So I'm super excited about the second day, that is part 2 of AWS webinar. So day 1, that is yesterday, what we had discussed, we had few network issues, but still we were able to manage and then put forth a recorded video before you people. So that video is hosted on YouTube. You can go and check that out. That video is part 1. Now, in case if you are attending directly part 2, I would recommend you to go and watch part 1 after the end of this video. So in today's webinar, I will be covering few connectivity issues that you might be facing while getting connected to an EC2 instance. We had discussed how to connect to the EC2 instance yesterday. In case if you are not able to download Puttigen, or in case if you are stuck, you don't know how to use Puttigen and things like that, we will cover that today. Not just that, the entire guide is getting ready, so it will be sent to you in a PDF format. So you will be getting 2 PDFs today, hopefully around 12:30. The first one will be how to create EC2 instance. That's part number 1. That's PDF number 1. PDF number 2 is all about how to get connected to that particular instance using Puttigen and then Putty. So not just that, today we will be doing a lot about S3. So I hope people who have attended the yesterday's webinar and who have watched the yesterday's YouTube video, there are 3 different components that are very essential for us to build the face recognition, face detection application using AWS. One is EC2, the other one is S3, and then the other one is recognition. Recognition, we had completed it on the demo class the previous week. Yesterday we had seen about EC2, and today we will be talking about S3, which is very important for us to build the face detection application. So today we are going to talk about S3. So just let us do a quick recap on what we did yesterday. So as usual, before getting started, I would like to read out this disclaimer. Please use only the services that are shown in the webinars. Please do that. Do not explore any other service. In case if you want to explore any other service, you are doing it on your own risk. At your own risk, you are experimenting stuffs. I'll tell you why. AWS is a cloud service provider, which means that they are burning cache. Now, if they are burning cache, they need to retrieve that cache from the users. Now, having said that, AWS offers a lot of services. Few of the services are eligible for free tier, few of them are not. So this means that you need to be knowing which services are chargeable and which services are eligible for free tier. Now for you to understand that, free tier eligibility and all the services which are included in free tier are listed in the website aws.amazon.com/free. Now there are tons and tons of FAQs related to free tiers that is also available in the given link. I would strongly recommend, before proceeding any further with your AWS account, please read about free tier eligibility and the services which are eligible for free tier. Now, having said all of this, the simplest way to understand AWS is to start from these webinars. So whatever I am showing, please stick on to that. So today what we'll be doing is, I will be doing a very quick recap of what we did yesterday. How did I launch an instance? How did I get connected to the instance and things like that? And few commands that we saw yesterday that also we'll be discussing. And then quickly we'll be jumping on to the service called as S3, which is basically a storage service offered by Amazon. So let's get started, guys. So a very quick recap of what happened yesterday. So we did solve few account creation issues. Few of the account creation issues could be the payment gateway, or whether your card is getting verified or not. Probably you might be using RuPay card. So maybe after a couple of days still your account is not created, please go to the AWS support page and raise a ticket in that. So we did speak about architecture of the application yesterday, where we saw there are 4 important components. One is Telegram, that's the front part of it. And then you have EC2, which is a very important service. Yesterday we discussed in detail about that. Then you have another component called as S3, which is a storage component. And then finally you have recognition service, which is a recognition component, which means that the moment you upload an image, it will understand the facial features from that particular image. Now that's the architecture part of it. Yesterday we did create our own server. We went to EC2 dashboard. We were able to create a server. Then we installed Apache on top of it. Then we put our name on the browser. Then last part, we also discussed few of the AWS certifications and which is right for you and which is not. So again we are back to the architecture. So first thing is Telegram bot. So in case if you have not created a Telegram bot, please go back to our first day class, that is demo session on AWS face detection app using AWS. So please refer to our channel, go to the previous video. The previous week it was shot and then it was released and published. Please go to that video and check how to create a Telegram bot. That is very important, guys. Without that, we will not be able to complete the project. That's the first step. Second step is to create EC2 instance. In case if you have missed yesterday's video, the video recording is available on our Telegram channel. The Telegram channel link is given below. So please join our Telegram channel and check how to create an EC2 server. Now today is the third step, in which we will be talking about S3. So I again quickly will go through the entire architecture and how it works and things like that. First thing is, the moment you upload an image in Telegram bot, the image comes directly to EC2. Now what EC2 does is, EC2 uploads the image to S3 or sends the image to S3. S3 is a storage service which will store the image. So EC2, whereas it is a compute service which will compute, which will do some computations, right? Like 1 plus 2, 3 plus 5, some computations like that. Now EC2 is basically a virtual machine. Under that you get hardware and you also get an operating system. Now EC2 sends the image, whatever it has received from Telegram bot, and puts that image on S3. Now in S3 the image gets stored. Now what happens next is, EC2 invokes recognition service, asking the recognition service to understand the features of the given image. Recognition then takes the image from S3, recognize that particular image and understand and interpret certain results. Now recognition passes that results to EC2 back. Probably recognition could say, I have understood there are 5 faces in the image, or there are no faces in the image, things like that. Now once EC2 gets the output from recognition, directly EC2 interprets that results and sends that result back to the Telegram bot. As simple as this, guys. There are totally 6 levels of coordination or communication required. So in today's sessions, we'll be talking about S3. So what are we going to do today? Yesterday we created a web server. Yesterday we created an EC2 instance first, and then we installed HTTPD, if you remember. Now after that we did few page creations, and then we were able to paste that IP address to the browser, and then it was working. We were able to see the custom message, right? So this is what we did yesterday. Now we will be terminating the same instance that we have created yesterday. We'll be seeing how to do that and why should we even terminate our server. We will talk about that. Now second thing that we are going to see today is how to create an S3 bucket. What is an S3 bucket? How do we create one? Third thing is we'll be working with S3 objects like uploading and downloading files, modifying the metadata, modifying the data, so on and so forth. Fourth thing we'll be seeing is something called as S3 tiering. How does it affect our costing? Fifth thing and most interesting part, I am super excited to do that, that is hosting a static website. Sixth thing is again to know about AWS certifications, and then last thing is how to proceed further with AWS career path. So first, I am sure you guys would have understood the EC2 dashboard yesterday. If not, again today I'll be showing you how to launch an instance and then how to terminate it, right? So there are 3 important keywords in EC2 dashboards once you go to instance states. I'll be telling you about that today. I'll be showing you a demo as well. But before that, you need to understand 3 important key terminologies. One is terminate, second one is reboot, third one is stop. So first thing is terminate. Now what do you mean by terminating an instance? What do you mean by rebooting an instance? How is it different from stopping an instance? As the name suggests, guys, terminate will completely shut down the instance and take that instance away from you. Meaning you cannot again restart that instance. I'll again repeat it. The moment you terminate a particular EC2 instance, the EC2 instance will be shut down. It's just like you are shutting down your laptop. Not just that, your EC2 instance is gone away from you, meaning you will not be able to start the instance again. It's done. Now second thing is rebooting. Rebooting is almost equivalent to restarting your laptop. So you switch off and then switch it on again. So nothing happens to your EC2 instance. Probably you have heard, right, how India has launched satellites, right? So way back, I'm not sure if you would have watched films. So even in the film, they say that the moment you restart something and then it starts working. So in case if you don't know what's the problem with EC2, you restart it, probably it might work for you. So that's reboot. That's on a very lighter note. But there are cases where you need to restart your instances. Probably we'll discuss that in coming days. So rebooting is restarting your instance. Now the third thing is stopping the instance. Now stopping the instance is very different from terminate. So once you terminate the instance is gone. You will not be able to restart, or you will not be able to start the instance again. But stopping the instance will just stop the instance, meaning it will just shut down. In case if you need, you can restart that instance. You can start that instance again. So please understand these 3 terminologies. This is very, very important for us. The moment you terminate your instance, you will not be able to get that instance back. Let's assume that you joined a company and your manager has given you a certain task, and then that certain task requires a launch of EC2. You have launched it. Now after a couple of days, by mistake, you terminated it. That's it, done. You will not be able to get that instance back. There are so many other backup options. Let's not get into that, but please understand, terminating an instance is something that you cannot roll back. So why should I even terminate or stop my instance? If terminate is that dangerous, why should I even do it? Now, in case if you don't need your instance, you can obviously terminate it. That's it. Very simple answer. Now, not just that, this is for the demo purpose, right? We are all understanding that we are building a quick face detection app in just 3 or 4 days. Now, after that, that's it. We don't need anything, right? The moment you create that Word document and then push it to us, we'll evaluate that and we'll release your e-certificate, and that's about it. You don't need the instance anymore. So you can terminate. Very similar scenario. In case if you are working on a project and if your project is closed, your project is completed, you don't need the instance anymore, then in that case you can terminate the instance. But since we are all sitting in a demo class, if we are not terminating our instance, what will happen? AWS will keep charging you. Now the moment when I say AWS keeps charging you, of course the instance that we have taken is from free tier eligible. We have all understood that, right? We only selected things which are under free tier eligible. But there is a big thing here. Now AWS offers only 750 hours of free for the instance per month. Now that means what? In case if you are exceeding that 750 hours per month, then obviously you need to start paying AWS. Now there are so many clauses under this. Now let's not get into the details of that. Very simple, guys. If you want to make sure that you are not paying AWS, at least for now, please terminate the instance. So I'm going to show how to do that. So again, I am back in Ohio region. So you will be able to see the region over here. I keep telling a lot about regions. Today I'll be discussing in detail about regions and availability zone. Do not miss that out. So the first thing is, right now I have stopped all my instances. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to create an instance. Again, it's like a bonus for you. You are revising it again. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to launch an instance again, and then I'm going to terminate that and then show you how to terminate that instance. Okay. In case if you have missed yesterday's sessions or if you are not able to understand yesterday's sessions demo, please watch out. So no problem, Harsh. In case if your instance was running all through the night, there is no problem, absolutely no issues at all. So the reason is AWS offers 750 hours of running time. So you don't have to worry, you are still safe. So scroll down, you will be able to see launch instance. Click on this and then select launch instance again. So as I was telling, there are totally 7 steps over here presented. The first step is to select the operating system. I'm going to go ahead and then select Linux 2. This is what we did yesterday as well. So the next thing is I'm going to select T2 Micro, which is again a free tier eligible. So in case if you are not sure what I'm doing now, so please watch the video, yesterday's video. So 1 CPU and then 1 GB of RAM. I'm going to go to the next details. As I told you yesterday, I'm not going to touch this screen at all. I'm just going to click on add storage. For this particular application, you don't need to change any configuration. So I will just click on the next one, which is add storage. So you can go till 30 GB, but for our application, this is very much enough. So I'm just going to leave my storage as 8 GB. So the next thing is adding the tags. Adding the tags for now is not important. So I'm just going to go to the next step. So here you need to make a note of your type and then the port range. This is your configuration of security group. So yesterday, if you remember, we allowed HTTP here as well so that you can see the website on your browser. So today I'm not going to do that because we are not going to create any Apache servers. We are not going to do any of that what we did yesterday. I'm just going to show you how to terminate this instance. So going further, the last step is to review the entire configuration that you have done. So Amazon Linux, make sure that it is free tier eligible. T2 Micro is again free tier eligible. So I'm going to go ahead and then launch the instance. Before launching that, it will ask you to select the key pair. Yesterday we created a key pair. Today I don't need the selection of key pair, so I don't have to do that. So I just have to click on launch instance. So my instance is launched. I will click on this. Guys, watch out for this particular instruction very carefully. Okay. In case if you are not understanding how did I create an instance, in case if you want me to explain in detail, I have done that already in our previous video. Please go and check that out on how to create the instance step by step. I had created some 1 hour 15 minutes video just for that. So please go through that very carefully. So give it a couple of seconds. As we discussed yesterday, your instance state should be under running. So this means that your instance is up and running. Now guys, look out for this particular information very carefully. Okay, the first thing is I have selected my instance. The first step is to select your instance. I have selected my instance, then click on actions, and there is something called as instance state. Now please look at this, guys. The first thing is stop. Now the moment you click on stop, your AWS billing stops and you will not be able to connect to your instance. This means that your instance is shut down. Okay, AWS billing stops. That means you don't have to pay for AWS anymore. Not just that, if you want, after some point of time, you can start the same instance back. That's the biggest advantage that you get if you stop the instance. I'll again repeat it. First thing is you will not be billed for stopped instance. Second thing is, in case if you want to start the same instance after some point of time, you can do that by clicking on start. Now third thing is, your instance still stays with you, but you can't connect to the instance. Okay, you will not be able to connect to the stopped instance because it is stopped, it is shut down, you can't do it, right? So that is stop. Now second thing, as I was telling, is reboot. Reboot is just restarting the machine. So the moment if you restart the machine, within a fraction of a second your machine will be restarted. Okay, nothing happens, your machine is just restarted. AWS billing will not be stopped because still your machine is running. Okay guys, listen to this. Your AWS billing will not be stopped, it will still be running. Only, because of that you will be paying AWS in case if you are out of your free tier eligibility. Now the third and very important thing is terminating. Now terminating will stop your instance. You will not be able to connect to the instance. At the same time, you cannot start the instance again. Your instance is lost. If you want to connect to the instance again, you need to create a new instance. Okay, you cannot connect to the old instance. It's stopped and it is terminated. Your instance is taken away from you. You can't connect to the instance again, or you can't start the same instance again. You need to create a new instance if you want to. So for this demo purpose, I'm going to terminate the instance because we don't need this. Fourth day, we will create another instance. As simple as that. Okay, because we know the steps that we have to do. We need to install Apache. It's just 2 or 3 more commands, so we are all safe. So I'm going to go ahead and then click on terminating that particular instance. I will click on terminate and you get this warning. Okay, now please read this warning very carefully, guys. I'm going to explain a small concept behind this. So the first thing is, On a EBS backed instance, the default action for the root EBS volume is to be deleted when the instance is terminated. So this means as we have created the instance, there was a point where we need to configure our storage. Now, how much of storage we have asked for? We have asked for 8 GB of storage. Now, when I am terminating this particular instance, by default, that storage will also be deleted. Okay, that's what this warning means. I'll repeat it again. So when we have created this particular instance, we asked AWS, I need 8 GB of storage. We call that as EBS, Elastic Block Storage. I'll repeat it again, Elastic Block Storage, EBS. Now, the moment we attach that storage to this particular instance, and now we are about to terminate the instance. So what should happen to the storage? So by default, that storage will also be deleted. So listen to this carefully. Read this instruction. Storage will be lost. Okay, whatever you have stored in that particular storage, it will also be lost because we are going to lose the storage. So right now we don't want that storage, neither we don't want this instance. So it is all fine for now. So I'm going to go ahead and then click on terminate. So one thing that you need to remember guys here is what is EBS. EBS is Elastic Block Storage, which will get attached to an EC2 instance. Got it? And it is a storage. It's a storage service. So EC2 is a compute service. EBS is a storage service. Now what is EBS? EBS is Elastic Block Storage. So that will get attached to our EC2 instance. So when we open the EC2 instance, we will be able to create some files, whatever we want to do, right? So yesterday we created index.html. So where it was stored in a EBS. So what they are telling is when you are about to terminate this instance, they will terminate EBS as well. That's what they are telling. So for now, I'm going to say yes, because I understand what they are telling and I don't need the EBS as well. So your instance state for a few seconds, it will be in shutting down. After a couple of seconds, it will get changed to terminated. Yeah. So your instance state got changed to terminated. You will not be able to see the other details like IPv4 and public IP address, so on and so forth. That means your instance is gone. You cannot connect to this instance anymore, because for connecting to the instance you need IP address. IP address is not available for now, so your instance is gone. So this is how you terminate an instance. I'll again quickly repeat it. Go to the service, click on EC2. You will be able to see your running instances here. Click on that. So as a first step, select the instance which you want to terminate. Go to the action, go to the state and click on terminate. Right now it is disabled because the instance is already terminated. So click on the terminate and your instance will be terminated within some time. So this is how you terminate an instance. So you can terminate an instance without affecting the storage. We will see that in the coming class. So I hope instance termination is very clear. So I am also equally excited to announce a particular offer. So yesterday, when we posted a poll in Telegram, we got so many response that we had to do the entire webinar recorded and then push it to our YouTube. So we understand each and every one of you is genuinely interested in this course. So at the same time, few of you guys have requested us to provide some discount on the offerings that we are doing. So we thought, let's have a master quiz. So the master quiz topics will be the topics that I have covered yesterday, that is EC2 predominantly, and today I'll be covering S3. So from these two different topics, we have created a wonderful quiz. We have compiled close to 10 questions and we have made a quiz out of it. Now, at the end of this video, I will be showing you a link and I will be showing a QR code for that particular quiz. Now all you have to do that is just go to that particular link or scan the QR code, take all of those 10 questions as quick as possible, as soon as possible. The reason why I am stressing on that is because 3 winners will get free e-guru interviews. Guys, believe me, e-guru interviews are good. So I have done that. I have taken that as well. So e-guru interviews are extremely good, extremely value added service for all the freshers out there. So top 3 winners, the people who are going to score top 3 marks, will get completely free e-guru interviews. You don't have to go anywhere for attending the interview. e-guru interview is an online on demand mock interview, meaning you will be interviewed just by sitting before your laptop. Interview, so what's a big deal? So the big deal here is you will get the feedback, you will get the guidance, you will get whatever you need. You can ask some industry questions to the industry expert and all of that, and you get 35 to 40 minutes of time with industry expert. So I was just telling my team, hey, why only top 3? So we have extended this particular service for top 20. e-guru vouchers will be available 40% off for top 20 people who are scoring. So what is this top? 40%. 40% is almost close to 1000 rupees. So 1000 rupees you get just by attending 10 questions. So the offer is only valid today. So do not worry guys, you should be able to complete this quiz within probably 15 to 20 minutes because there are only 10 questions, and believe me, the questions are good. The questions are not difficult, but the questions are good. So few of the questions are directly from AWS kind of exam related questions. So please do take those questions and submit it as soon as possible once the webinar is done. So you can go and check out all the other details from this particular website, eguru.oo. Yes, it is little different, O, okay, eguru.oo. Storage service. Now it is a storage service provided by Amazon. In fact, Amazon.com itself is using S3 at the back for displaying all the product images, for displaying the static contents, for hosting the static contents, so on and so forth. It is made for web scaling. For example, in case if you have few hundreds of users, yes, S3 adds a very big value. In case if you have tons and tons of users, thousands and thousands of users accessing your website at the same time simultaneously, so that's where S3 comes into the picture. So S3 is auto scale, it's a web scale computing, so you can host all of your website, at least the front end, the static part of your website on S3. So today we are going to be talking about how to host my static website on S3 as well. So here in S3, before going ahead with the demo, there are few key concepts that I want each and every one of you to understand in depth. The first keyword is called as objects. In S3, we store only objects. For example, you can store a PNG, you can store a JPEG, you can store probably MP3, you can also store MP4, you can also store a PDF, you can store a text file, you can store whatever you want guys, but we will not refer them as files. The keyword in which we refer them is object. Now people who have learnt Java, I'm not going to get into Java coding, and I'm not going to scare you, right? So the point here is people who have learned Java or people who have learned C++, object is data and metadata. So that's what in S3 is all about. So in S3, we will be storing all the content, all the data in the format of an object. Okay. So maybe now you are not able to understand, but once I go to the demo, when I refer an object, you can understand that as a file for some time. Okay. So you please understand this. The moment I upload a file, the moment I download a file, I am talking about an object. Okay. Not the file anymore. I'm going to be talking a lot about objects today. I'll say, hey, upload this object. I'll say, hey, download that object. So can you please read the objects metadata? Now when I say objects, it is nothing but a file, right? That's at the end of the day, it's a file. So understand that. So next thing is, there are three important things. First thing is a bucket. Now what's a bucket? So this is Dhoni's kit. Okay, so the right hand side image is Dhoni's kit. Now if you look at this, there is a big bag which will contain all the things that a cricketer is supposed to have, right? So that's your bag. Now that bag is almost equivalent to a bucket. Now a bucket means it's a container for all the objects. Now what's an object? Object is something which is the actual data itself and the metadata. Now if you want to compare and give an analogy, so the first thing is, bat is the actual data. You use the bat, right? So you use the bat to play. So that's the actual data. Now when I say bat, probably there are a lot of metadata associated with that. So the thing is, like probably the bat name, bat size, bat weight, bat dimensions, things like that. So those are all metadata of the bat. Now another key thing is, what are keys? Now keys are something which will uniquely identify an object inside a bucket. For example, jersey number 7. So now everybody knows that jersey number 7 in Indian cricket team belongs to Dhoni. That's a unique identifier for that particular cricketer, right? Likewise, even you will have unique identifier numbers, probably USN or registration number, so on and so forth, from your college or from your university. Now that is the unique identifier. Now the unique identifier in S3 is called as key. Again, I'll quickly repeat it, guys. The first one is bucket, which is called as container for an objects. All the objects should be stored in a bucket. Objects cannot be directly stored on S3. Objects have to be a part of a bucket. Please understand that. Next thing is, what's an object? Object is the actual data. Object is a file that contains metadata as well. Now the third thing is, what are keys? Keys are nothing but unique identifiers for each and every object that you are storing in a bucket. So once this is clear, let's get started with S3 demo. Yes, so this is how your S3 dashboard looks like. I'm going to show you how to do that from the beginning. So go to the services. So I hope all of you now would have understood how to get into EC2 dashboard. But today we are going to get into a storage service, which is S3. So click on S3 after getting into the services. The moment you do that, so it will list down all the buckets that are available in your account. Most probably, most of you will be seeing empty here, empty list here, because you would have not created any buckets till now. So I'm going to show you how to create a bucket. So just go to this create bucket. You will be able to find this button elsewhere as well in your account, because you would have not created any bucket till now. So you will be able to see a very plain table here with a very big button create. So you click on this create bucket. You are going to get into a page where you can put the bucket name. Guys, here is where it might get a little tricky, so please understand this carefully. So first thing that I'm going to do is give a name to my bucket. Now you guys remember, right? Bucket is a container for objects. Now the moment you don't have a bucket, you will not be upload any objects. So first thing is to create a bucket. So how do I do that? So first give a name to your bucket. So I am going to name my bucket AWS -webinar. So let me try creating this bucket, and please select one region out of the available region. So as I told, I'm going to stick on to one particular region for the entire 4 days. So I'm going to go and select Ohio. Next is the bucket setting. I will be talking about this bucket setting a little later, but for now just leave it as it is. And I will go ahead and then click on create bucket. Now guys, if you come and see here, bucket with the same name already exists. Now please understand this point very clearly. So this one is in case if you have created the same bucket name earlier, you will not be allowed to create another bucket with the same name. Now very biggest point here is guys, in case anybody in this entire world has created a bucket with the name AWS-webinar, you will not be allowed to create. So bucket name is just like a username. Once taken by anyone, you will not be able to use that particular bucket name. Is that clear guys? Thing is, if anybody would have created a bucket with the name AWS-webinar, you will not be allowed to create. Now, if you have created AWS-webinar bucket in the past, of course, you will not be able to create it. So you will not be able to create a bucket create a bucket with the same name as an existing bucket. So you need to give a very unique name. This is across accounts. So I will try and give AWS-webinar-ethnos, and I will try and click create bucket. It is taking some time. Hopefully it should get created. Yes. So my bucket got created, successfully created bucket AWS-webinar-ethnos. So I will go ahead and then click on this go to bucket details, or you can find the bucket here. I will just try finding my bucket here. You will be able to see AWS-webinar-ethnos. So this is the bucket, and this is the region in which the bucket is created. Now you may be also wondering, what is this? On the top right, if you just click on that, you will be able to see global, right? So when we were working with EC2, I am hoping that most of you would have understood that region was Ohio, but when I come to S3, the region got changed to global. So the point here is, you can click on this and you can read, S3 does not require region selection, whereas bucket creation requires a region. I'll again repeat it. S3 as a service doesn't require a region to be selected, whereas bucket, which is inside S3 service, requires a region to be selected. And that's when you would have seen, when I was creating a bucket, it asked me for a region, where I have selected Ohio. So this is my bucket. So I'm going to go ahead and then click on this bucket and see what's there inside the bucket. So inside the bucket, it is completely empty. This bucket is empty. Upload new objects to get started. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to upload a new object. When I say upload a new object, I hope most of you will be remembering that object is nothing but a file. I'm going to upload a file into my bucket, right? So just click on upload. You should be able to see this upload. Once you are in this particular bucket, there are 5 different tabs. In detail, I'll be explaining what each and every tab represents. But for now, get into this overview and click on upload. So once you have clicked on upload, there will be a button for adding the files. Click on that, and then you should be able to add a file. I have created a sample file for today's webinar, that is index.html. So how did I create that? You can open your notepad and create index.html file and put whatever content that you want. So as simple as that. So I have created index.html by using my notepad. So as I have already told you guys, I am using a Ubuntu laptop. So for me, creating a notepad file is a little different. So for you, I hope most of you will be knowing how to create file using Notepad. So you open Notepad, then you click on, you type something and then you click on Control S or file save, then you give it a name and then save it. That's about it. So the extension should be .html. Please make sure the extension is .html. So you're going to save the file as index.html. So I will double click on that. Once I double click on index.html, it will be ready for me to upload it. Okay. So this is the file that I'm going to upload. So I'm going to click on next. Next set of things is like setting the permission. For now, you don't have to do anything. Just click on next. Okay. I'll be talking about how to change this permission probably after 5-10 minutes, where we need to make our website, we need to make our S3 bucket as a static web hosting bucket. So for now, leave this permission as it is and then click on next. Now we will also be talking about S3 tiering. At that time, I will brief you about each and every tier. For now, make sure that it is in standard and then click on next. So the third thing is for storage classes or S3 tiering. I will be talking about storage class or S3 tiering in S3 in just a couple of minutes. So for now, just select standard and click on next. Now the next thing is just click on this upload button and then give it a couple of seconds. Your file should be uploaded. This is based on the size of the file. So for me, it is just 75 bytes. So it got uploaded very fast. So what you need to do is you have the index.html file inside this particular bucket. So make sure you are able to see a very similar user interface just uploading a particular file. Now in case if your file is not successfully uploaded for any reason, you will be able to see that error here. Okay, so for me it is one success. In case if your file didn't get uploaded successfully, you will be able to see one error here. So that means you click on that error and then understand what is the problem. Probably there might be a network issue. You will not be able to upload the file, or the file is corrupted, or the internet blockage, or congestion, or so many other reasons. We don't know what is the reason, right? So please go ahead and then select the error and then you will be able to see why it got and why it is a failure. So accordingly act on it. So for me, it is a success. It is directly telling 100% success. So this is how you upload an object to an S3 bucket. So let us go back here and then check. So what's an object? Object is a fundamental entity which is stored on Amazon S3 bucket. It is a base of, your S3, right? Because you operate only with objects. Now an object is actually data and metadata. Data is opaque for Amazon. What it means, let's assume that you have uploaded a text file. Amazon does not read the contents of the file. So the data as such is just opaque for Amazon. So only the metadata is visible for Amazon. So please make a note of this. This means this is highly secured. Now in case if you are not trusting this, in case if you see no, I want to encrypt my file and then store because I don't trust, go ahead and then do it. You encrypt your file and then store it as an object in S3. But Amazon does not read your contents. That's what they mean by saying data is opaque to Amazon. Next thing is, it is a name and value pair, which means that it is key and value, right? As we said, key is a unique identifier for all the given objects. Not just that, object means it will also store some metadata. Metadata meaning data about the data itself. Let's assume that when did you upload the object? When did you last modify the object? How did you upload the object? Which bucket it is belonging to? What are all the permissions associated with the object? So all of this is actually the metadata itself. So data about the data is metadata. So next thing is, let's check on objects, data and metadata. So this is my object that I have uploaded to the current bucket. Now please click on this. Once you click on this, you will be able to see few details about this particular object. Now look out for the key. So key here is index.html for this particular object. Now that means what? If you try and upload another object with the same key, it won't work. Please understand this. If you try and upload another object with the same key, it won't work, or it will ask you to replace the existing object. Now why is that happening? Because key is the unique identifier. You will not be able to have two different objects with the same key, right? So key is the unique identifier for each and every object inside your bucket. You may create another bucket and store another index.html there, no problem. But key is for the particular bucket. If you have index.html in your bucket, you will not be able to have another index.html as a key for another object. Then size of the bucket, size of the object, expiration date, object URL, so on and so forth, right? So these are all the metadata associated with the particular object. Not just this, there are other metadata associated with this object as well. So just click on this. So I'll again show you how did I do that. So this is my object. I am going and clicking on the object key itself. I will be able to see a lot of other metadata. For example, you can also see what's last modified. Then there is something called as e tag. Then there is something called as storage class. Storage class, if you see, this is standard. So when you were creating a particular object, when you were uploading a particular object, I told you storage classes I will discuss in detail. So that is this storage class. Okay, we'll be talking about this in a couple of minutes. So the size of the object as well, and then key of this particular object, and then the object URL. So let me go ahead and then click on this. Let's check what is the output. As you are seeing here, the output says it is access denied. You will not be able to access this particular object without proper permission. So that is why I was telling S3 is secured. You don't have to worry about it. You can make sure that it is secured. Okay. So you should be able to do few configurations to make this available as a public one, which we will be doing it in some time. So again, I will repeat what I was doing. So go to this bucket and click on the object name. You will be able to see a bunch of details. So like owner, last modify, e tag, storage class and things like that. So what I'm going to do is, as we saw the upload part of the object, I'm also going to show how to download it. As you can see, this is very simple. You just have to click on download and your file will get downloaded here. So I'm going to show you what I have inside this, so this is the file that I have uploaded. Okay, this is an HTML file. I have just put my custom text there. Whatever text you want, you can put there. Hello all, I am Arvind from Ethnes. Be safe, stay at home and learn AWS. So that's the content that I have put inside my file. Okay, you can put whatever you want. In some time it's going to go live. Okay, just like yesterday, it's going to go live, and then you will be able to copy that URL and send it to your mom, send it to your dad, send it to your friends, show them that you have created your own website within 1 hour. So just come down. So here is where your object URL is, and then I'll go back to my bucket here. This is where your object is. Okay, now let's get back to our next step. So I keep telling a lot about regions. Now what is this region? What do you mean by a region in AWS, right? So a region, availability zone and edge locations. These are three important entities of an AWS infrastructure. So AWS operates on these three important stuffs. One is called as region, next one is called as availability zone, and then the next part is called as edge location. So I recommend all of you to visit this particular website, that is infrastructure.aws. I will show you a demo here. This is quite interesting. So you guys can see that how AWS has architected their entire infrastructure behind all of the screens. So right now I'm going to go ahead and then spin this globe. You can see how can I'm able to spin this globe. So I'll quickly go ahead to India. Right now, due to the situation, map like this is very kind of a scene one because of this corona. So there are a lot of maps which says these are the affected areas and these many number of people are affected and things like that. So when you go to infrastructure.aws, a very similar kind of a map is shown where they will be showcasing what are all the regions that they have, what are all the edge locations that they have, and what are all the availability zones that they have. I'm going to quickly explain all these three different terminologies for you. I will go ahead and then click on Mumbai. So you will be able to see that Mumbai has three different availability zones. Guys, so first is a region. A region is a geographical location where Amazon has all their data centers. Okay. Now what do you mean by data centers? Data centers are a place where all of their servers are located. Okay, physically located. When I say EC2 is a virtual server, but it has to be residing on a physical machine. Now where is that physical machine? That particular physical machine will be located in any one of their regions. Okay, now when I say region is a geographical location. As you can see, Mumbai is one of the region that AWS has. Now if you look at the other one, let's assume that there is one small rose color one here which is not a region. Okay, that's not a region at all. Now when I go and click on this one, this is a region. Singapore is another region. So likewise they have other regions as well. So if you go ahead and then see, they have other few regions. You can click and then you can see how many availability zones are there inside a region. Now what do you mean by an availability zone which is inside the region? So region is a geographical location. Now next step is to knowing about availability zones. Availability zone is within a particular region, and this is the actual place where your data center is existing. Having said that, availability zones, two different availability zones will be some distance apart from each other. One region will contain minimum of two availability zone for sure, right? So availability zone, for example, let's assume Mumbai. Let's take Mumbai region as an example. Now Mumbai region has three different availability zone. It could be North Mumbai, South Mumbai, East Mumbai. It could be something like that, right? So each and every availability zone will be a distance apart from each other. Now this gives a very good advantage. The reason is, in case if the network drops in one availability zone, in case if there is a network issue or a power issue in one availability zone, the other availability zone will not get affected. So that means what? Availability zones are existing to increase the availability of Amazon's network. Now that is why it is called as availability zone. I'll repeat this again because this is super important. In most of your AWS exams, availability zone and regions are most widely asked and important questions. So I'll repeat it again. Availability zones are there to increase the Amazon's network availability in a particular region. So one region will minimum have two different availability zone. In case if one fails, the other availability zone will act as a backup. Now that is the reason why they have to be little distant apart, right? So one availability zone could be in Mumbai North, the other availability zone could be in Mumbai South, the third availability zone could be in Mumbai East or Mumbai West. So that's how availability zones are there. Now there is one more concept called as edge location. Edge locations are used for caching the files. Now when I say caching the files, whatever we are referring, whatever we are having, all the resources, those resources might get cached in these edge locations. So I am getting a lot of requests about the project. The project has to be submitted at the end of 7 days. So today is day 5, tomorrow day 6, and then Sunday is day 7. At the end of 7 days, you will be given a deadline on Wednesday. So before Wednesday, you need to send us your GitHub link. I will be telling you how to host the entire project document on GitHub. You should be sharing this project document, that GitHub link, to us in a form. We will be circulating the Google form at the end of the 7th day. There you need to put that Word document and send it to us. The moment you do that, we'll take a couple of days. We'll understand what you have done, what you have completed, to what extent you have understood the concept, things like that. Once that is done, in case if you feel you are eligible for the e-certificate, your e-certificate will be released to your mail account. So in case if you are not sure what is GitHub, in our first video, that is our demo video, we have explained you how to create a GitHub account. Please go and check that video out. We will be telling you how to upload a project in GitHub on 4th day. Okay, so I'm sure I'm clear here. So this is about region and availability zone. So region is a geographical location. Availability zones are there to increase the availability of Amazon's network, resources, whatever it is. And then each region might contain more than 2 availability zones. And when I say availability zone, it will be a distant apart from each other. Now edge locations need not be an availability zone, but edge locations can exist on its own. Edge locations are basically used for caching the resources at a various geographical location. So that's edge location for you. So I'll again go back and show you where these regions and availability zones are there in AWS. So I will quickly go to EC2 again. I'm not going to create a server. I'm just going to show you where can you see all these regions, where can you see all the availability zones and things like that. Okay, so just take a couple of minutes to understand this, because as I was telling, this is super important topic in the perspective of a certification. Okay, so if you're going to say I'm going to become AWS certified solution architect, or I'm going to become AWS certified developer, or I'm going to become AWS certified SysOps administrator, for all of this certificate, even in fact for the foundational certificate, which is cloud practitioner, this particular topic is the most important topic. So without availability zone backup and without knowledge of regions and availability zone, it is very, very, very tough to get certified. So that is why I am spending a lot of time in telling you about these two topics. So as I was telling, these are the Amazon's regions. So I am already in US East, and US East, if you want to know how many availability zones are there. So guys, I will just quickly show you by trying and creating an instance. Okay, so I'll go ahead and then click on launch instance. As you will be able to see, you can select your operating system. I'm not going to launch it. I'm just going to show you how many availability zones are there. Guys, look out here. As I was telling, do not touch the third step. Do not touch the third step when you are creating an EC2. So I was telling, because we have not understood the concept of networks and subnet in Amazon. So this is the right time to see how many availability zones are there in Ohio. So if you just click this, you will be able to see that there are 3 different subnets. Okay, and there is something called as availability zone. Okay, so default subnet in any availability zone. Okay, so now how Amazon has structured is, Amazon has given you a way to create your own virtual private cloud inside their public cloud. Okay, Amazon is the public cloud. Amazon is a public cloud. So inside that public cloud, you will be able to create VPC, which is a virtual private cloud. Okay, it's a private cloud just for you. Now inside that private cloud, you will be able to create subnets in availability zones. So we'll be discussing about that probably in detail about subnets and networks tomorrow. But on the whole, I just wanted to show you the network and subnet concept, how it is aligned with availability zone and regions. Okay, so typically one region will contain one VPC minimum, at least one VPC minimum, and typically each and every availability zone will contain two different subnets. Okay, this is just for you to remember. Do not worry why, do not worry how, do not worry what is subnet, what is network. Don't worry about all of this. Just make a note of it and proceed with the webinar. I'm going to tell you why, how, what, everything in tomorrow's class. Okay, so as of now, what you need to understand is every region will typically have at least one VPC, and every VPC typically will have few subnets, and every availability zone will usually have two different subnets. Okay, this is all I'm telling is usually, typically, and things like that, because there is no restriction like that. You can create few other subnets as well in your single availability zone. You can go ahead and then do it, but usually we'll restrict ourselves to create only two subnets per availability zone. I will tell you why, how, why, what is subnet, what is network, all of that tomorrow. So you just have to understand step 3 of EC2 creation. Here is where you will be able to see few subnets which are available in this particular network. So let's proceed further. Yes, Srinath. So in case after 24 hours also, if your account is not activated, there is a page for support in AWS portal itself. Just go there and then ask them, hey, why my account is not activated. Now, first of all, I got another doubt yesterday. We got an email from one of our student saying that, sir, I have paid everything and I'm not sure whether my account is activated or not. How do I even know that my account is activated? So you just click here to services, go to this EC2. Now in case if you are able to see EC2 dashboard, this is the EC2 dashboard I kept telling from the last 2 days. This is your EC2 dashboard. Now in case if you are able to see this, then that means almost your account is activated. Now in case if you click on services and come to this EC2 and somehow you are redirected to the billing section of AWS, now that means your account is not activated yet and there might be some account creation issues. So get in touch with AWS support team in case if your account is not activated after a couple of days. Okay, Sharan. So just to kind of answer your question, we have created a Linux instance, but why am I downloading Putty for Windows? Guys, it is very simple to understand. Linux instance is created on cloud. Now, you all know that the machine that we have created is in US East, right? Now, let's assume that you have bought a laptop, right? And the laptop is there in US East. Now, how will it look like to ask you, Sharan, hey Sharan, please pack your bag, go to US to access your instance? That's not possible, right? Then you might tell probably, no, I want my instance here. I'm going to sit at home and then access my instance. Now, how do I do it? Using a remote connection, right? Now, Putty is a software which is used to get connected to a Linux instance remotely, okay? You don't have to be physically present for accessing your machine. You can be remotely present just to access your machine, just to get connected to your machine. Now that's where putty is helping us. So if you would have seen TeamViewer, right? So TeamViewer is a software which will help you to get connected or get access to a machine from a remote place. Now that's exactly what putty does for your Linux machine. Putty is more like a command interface rather than a visual interface. That's why we are not able to understand putty that much. But what putty does is, putty helps you to get connected to a machine which is far away from you, for which you don't have physical access, just like the way TeamViewer works, or just like the way AnyDesk works. So why are we downloading putty for Windows? Because your laptop is Windows. That's why we need a Windows client. So in case for my case, in my case, what I have done is I have downloaded putty for Linux because my operating system is Ubuntu. So to which operating system we are getting connected? Using putty, you can connect to only Linux machines because it is operated on SSH port number 22. So that means that you will be able to connect to Linux machine. So for Windows, the protocol is RDP, that's acting on a different port. Okay. So for that, you need to use something called as remote desktop application. So there will be an application in your Windows machine also. That application is called as remote desktop. You just press Windows button and then you just type remote. You will be able to see remote desktop connection. So click on that. You will be able to put an IP address, fill in the username and password. You can get connected to any machine which is connected to a remote network, to a network, right? So that's a remote connection for Windows. Putty is remote connection for Linux. Okay, so let's go get into this tiring, and then after some time I'll be talking about again the quiz and master quiz. What are all the topics that you have to be really good at for the master quiz? Okay, so guys, I let me tell you a very small thing. Please try and score the maximum in the master quiz, because this is not about percentage, this is about percentile, right? I mean, if you are able to stay on top 3 and that too very fast, so you are going to get free eGuru interview. So that is the best thing that you can get, I would say, in next 21 days. So if you keep getting free eGuru interviews, one could be technical interview, the other one could be coding interview, the other one you can choose to be an HR interview. Now if you do that, I am sure you can improve a lot within the next 21 days. So let's get into this S3 tiring. So the first one is S3, Amazon S3 standard, then the standard infrequent access, and then one zone infrequent access, and then the last one is Glacier. So to understand this in deep, I will tell you a very simple ideology, very simple stuff. Okay, now I hope everybody has a Facebook profile or probably an Insta profile, right? Nowadays Facebook is probably, people are telling it's outdated, right? So let us take the example of Telegram or Insta. So Insta, for example, I also have an Insta account, but I am not using that at all. I very rarely I used to log into my Insta profile and check out what is happening. But I'm really active on LinkedIn, right? So when I say I'm really active on LinkedIn, so that means that I'm accessing my profile very frequently, right? Now when I say I'm not active on Insta, I am checking it very rarely. That means that I'm accessing certain resources infrequently, right? So that's the keyword, guys. That's the keyword to look out for. Frequently accessed resource have to be kept in a tiering called as standard. Infrequently accessed resource can be moved to a tiering called as infrequent access. So let me tell you why. So why is very simple thing, guys. If you are thinking that you are accessing a particular resource very frequently, then put that particular resource in standard, then you pay, let's assume, so I'm just giving some random number because the actual numbers are in dollars and it is very tough for us to understand that. Okay, so I'm going to go into that and then put it into a perspective of rupees and just an example. Okay, this is not an actual conversion that I am talking about. This is not the actual amount that you will be paying Amazon. Okay, so I'm just giving you a random example. I'll be very clear on that. So first thing is, I have index.html. I have uploaded that object into my bucket. Now if I think that that particular object will be accessed very frequently, I will keep it under standard. Now, standard infrequent access gives you the ability to make that object infrequent and pay less amount to Amazon. For example, I would say, hey, I'm going to change index.html to standard infrequent access and I'm going to pay Amazon 80 paisa per day. Right? So that is 20 paisa savings for me every day. Right? And I'm going to say, no, I'm going to make it as one zone infrequent access. Now, to understand what is one zone infrequent access, what we need to understand is standard infrequent access and standard stores the object in three different availability zones. Okay, so let's assume that there is a region, Ohio region, that we have created, right? And my object is stored in Ohio region. Now inside Ohio region there are three different availability zones. Now index.html will be sent to all three different availability zone, will be stored in all three different availability zone. Now why are they doing it? I asked them to store index.html. Why are they storing index.html in three different availability zone? What is the reason? So the reason is, in case if one availability zone fails, you have another backup in another availability zone. So that is the reason, right? So that means anytime you request for index.html, it is healthy and it is available, right? Just to make sure the availability is super, availability is achieved, Amazon stores every object in multiple availability zones inside a particular region. Now in case if you want to say Amazon, hey Amazon, do not do that, I don't need that much of availability because I am going to access my file very less frequently and I don't need availability also, it's fine, I am willing to sacrifice, but I don't want to pay you 80 paisa, I want to just pay you 50 paisa. So go ahead, pay 50 paisa, but make your object tiring as one zone infrequent access. The moment you do one zone infrequent access, Amazon will restrict and Amazon will put your object only in one availability zone and not in multiple availability zone. So that's the one zone infrequent access. And the fourth one is glacier. So glaciers are something in which you will put your object and you will forget about that. That becomes a cold storage. Okay, so cold storage is you're going to store a particular object and it is done. So that's the cold storage. Okay, and that's called as glacier. So right now for the moment we will not be talking about glacier. I will quickly go through the other tirings. So I will just show you where the tirings are present and then we will quickly make our website hostable and then bucket hostable, and then we will. Okay, so here if you understand, I mean if you observe the bucket that we have created, I think I have created AWS webinar Ethnos. Yes. So I'll go ahead with this and then here is where I will be seeing my index.html file, right? So you click on this and then you will be able to see a lot of stuffs here, right? So close this off and then when you are uploading another file, so I am going to quickly upload other file. I'm just checking out the other file. Okay, so let's assume I'm sharing my screenshot or something. So click on next. Click on next. Here is where your tires are. So you can see frequently accessed data should be stored in storage class standard, infrequently accessed data, and this is infrequently accessed and non-critical data because you do not want to lose the critical data. And this one is glacier, which is like minutes to hours it will take for you to retrieve the object. The moment you click download, it will not get downloaded. It will take minutes and it will take hours probably to download your object. Now quickly I'm going to show you how to make this as web hosted. Okay, so you click on your bucket and go to the properties of the bucket. I'll again show you. So I have clicked on my bucket and I'm coming into the properties tab. So nothing much I have explained, guys. So I went to this Amazon S3, and once I am in Amazon S3, what I have done is I have selected my bucket. So once I have selected my bucket, you just have to click on properties tab. So go to this properties tab. The moment you go to this properties tab, there is a way where you can enable this website, enable this bucket for static web hosting. So click on that and use this bucket to host a website. All you have to do is just give index.html here, because that's the file that we want to serve as the first page. So click on save. That's it. Your bucket is hosting now. So click on that again. You will be able to see the endpoint. So right click on this one, and this is where you will be able to see the website. Now take a look at this URL. The URL is a domain name and it is no more a IP address. Yesterday we did an IP address, today it is a URL. Okay, now still it is a big one. Let's figure out how to do that probably after some time. So go to this S3 again, and you are getting this forbidden access, right? That is because we have not enabled public access to this particular bucket. So go to the permissions tab and you will have block all public access on by default. So click on this edit and switch off that block. I don't want to block all the public access. In fact, I want to give the public access. Okay. So click on, uncheck block all public access and then type in confirm. So once you have typed in confirm, it will say public access settings updated successfully and block all public access is off. Now, once this is done, come and refresh here. Hopefully this should give another error. So let's see that. Yes. So again, it is giving an error. So go back and then check what is the access that you have given for the file, which is index.html. Because guys, one is the bucket has to be public. The other one is the object has to be public. Okay. So I will get into this object and you will be able to see this as make public. So just click on that. So it says success. Let's come here and then let's refresh it. Yeah. So now you are able to see the output. I'll quickly repeat it again for the benefit of people who have not listened, who have not paid much attention. So it is all just 2 steps. I'll explain it to you from the beginning. So go to this S3, select the bucket. Mine is AWS webinar Ethnos. Click on the bucket. First step is to go to properties and then click on enable static website hosting and select this option. Use this bucket to host a website. Select this option and give index.html here, because this is the website that we want to serve. Sorry, this is the file that we want to serve. Okay. So that is the index document. That's the first page that you want to see. So put that here and then click on save. Your first setting is done. Second setting. Second step is go to this permission and click on edit. Ideally, it will be a checked here. Click on this and make it as unchecked. Okay. Block all public access. We do not want to block all public access. In fact, we want to give all public access. That's why I'm unchecking that and then I'm clicking on save. Click on confirm. Type in confirm to do that and then click on confirm. You should get a success message here. That's the step number 2. Now step number 3 is go back to overview, click on the object and click on make public. Once you have completed, you have done all the steps that is required to make this bucket as static web hosting. Again, get on to this properties and click on this website hosting and click on this link, and your job is done. Now you will be able to access my website with this particular link. So you can take out this link and then check this out. You will be able to access my website. Now this is, I went global just in minutes. I was able to create a static website just in minutes. So let's listen to the next one, guys. So next thing is, again I would like to emphasis here. So the first foundational level is cloud practitioner, the second layer is associate, and then the third layer is professional, and also the fourth stage is specialty. For all the freshers out there, my friends, my students, please listen to this carefully. At least have the cloud practitioner certificate with you, and I would strongly recommend an associate certificate for freshers. In India, associate level certified freshers are just countable. Okay, I'm talking about freshers. Freshers with solution architect certified or or system operations administrator or associate developers it's just countable. You can just handpick them. Okay, so please be one of them and be ahead of the system, be ahead of the hiring. This is the right time, guys, because industry is going to change the way they recruit. Most of the industry now wants a ready-made certified developer. So I'm not only talking about AWS. Please go and get enrolled in any one of the professional certificate. Right now AWS is on the top pyramid. That is because AWS is cloud computing certificate. So you all must be aware of cloud computing, and then it's going to be the next big thing, stuffs like that. So please, I would strongly recommend you to have an associate certificate. In case if you want to go ahead with cloud practitioner certificate, I'm fine with that. Go ahead with at least cloud practitioner certificate. Next thing is professional. After a couple of years, please aim for the professional. If you can do it right now, I'll be more than happy to encourage you to get into the professional level of certification, but it is slightly difficult, I would say. So the last one is specialty. That's the top highest level of certificate that you can have. It comes with networking, machine learning, data analytics, database, Alexa, and security. I'm sure you all will be knowing what is Alexa all about. So just a recap, and then I'm going to show the test link. So very quickly, we terminated our instances today. So we just went into the actions and clicked on instance state and then clicked on terminate. That's how you terminate an instance. Create bucket, go to services, click on S3, click on create bucket, and give your bucket name, which that should be unique across the globe. So please give it a unique name and click on create bucket. Third one is working with objects, that is uploading an object and downloading an object. Fourth one is S3 tiering, which is standard, infrequent access, one zone infrequent access, and glacier. So the difference between all of them is one with availability, next one is with pricing. Now fifth one is having 3 steps in it. First step is to make your bucket public. That's by doing permissions and unblock it. Second thing is to enable the static website hosting. That will be available in properties tab of your S3. And then the third one is, and then the third important thing is to go and make your object public. Now another point that we discussed again is the right certification. So in case if you are interested and if you know coding a little bit, if you are interested in getting into the coding, please select AWS certified developer. This is an awesome opportunity, and the next big thing that you can do is you can be in DevOps on top of cloud computing, which is like a double degree from Oxford, right? So the next thing is you can do SysOps, and after that SysOps you can get into DevOps. Again, that is like dual degree. So solution architect is something which you can think about in case if you are not really strong in coding but you have some background in coding. Please think about solution architect, and then the next level of solution architect will be professional solution architect. So here is where you guys were waiting for. I understand that. So this is the link to the today's test. This is Master Quiz 1. Scan the QR code. I'm sure you guys will be sitting before your laptop. Take out your mobile, scan the QR code. Google form will be visible. Okay. Now, I will tell you how we are scoring you guys. Okay. Please spend a couple of minutes in understanding how we are selecting the winners, guys. It's not just about top scoring. It is also about who is scoring first. Okay. So for example, I'm sure most of you might get 10 on 10. Now out of 10 you might score 10, but the point here is who is scoring those first top 10. That is what will be calculated. It is calculated based on first come first serve. That means what, if you're going to score 10 on 10 first, you will definitely get the opportunity to get interviewed by experts, industry experts, without any cost. So please log into this quiz, take the quiz, make sure you give the right email ID, make sure you give the right phone number, make sure you are giving your full name. So these are the 3 personal data that we are asking you to do that, because we wanted to deliver free webinar, free interview for you, which needs these 3 informations at least. So please give those 3 information and then take the quiz. I'm sure most of you will be able to score 10 on 10 if you would have watched all these 3 videos that I have delivered till date. So from tomorrow also there will be continuous test, but make sure today's test you are taking it seriously. Prepare for some time. The topics are whatever I have covered till today, till this point, okay, which includes Telegram bot, EC2, basic cloud computing, as well as S3. I'll repeat it again: Telegram bot, EC2, S3, and basic cloud computing. So be on top 20, get 1000 rupees off, be on top 3 and get completely free interview. Okay, so all the best guys for your exam. The exam link will be closed by 5 o'clock today. The exam link, again I'll announce, exam link will be closed at 5 p.m. today. So if you want to participate and grab the opportunity to get interviewed by industry experts without any cost, completely for free, here's the opportunity for you. So grab that before 5 p.m. Submit your attempts for that test. Thanks a lot guys for listening to me. Join our Telegram channel. The link for the quiz will be available on our Telegram channel in next couple of minutes. Thanks a lot for listening to me. Day 2 signing off. Aravind. Bye bye from Bangalore.